Jord used his purification spell on Lucille. He thought he had turned into a zombie after disappearing for half a day. He was glad that Lucille didn't turn into a zombie, but Lucille started to wonder if Jord was an airhead. Afterwards, he recalled everything that happened on his first day at the Labyrinth. Although he couldn't level by killing the undead, he was more than satisfied, as the place was like a specialized training facility, which is perfect for him. Jord couldn't understand why he was grinning, so he asked if he had figured something out. Jord brought Lucille to the guild shop to teach him how to exchange his points and buy something with them. He was surprised to see all the items in the room, so Jord explained that exclusive spell tomes, potions, and magic items are all available for exchange. While Lucille thought that it was similar to a game, Jord called for Cat Leia. She asked if Lucille was doing fine before introducing herself. Lucille introduced himself, then explained he was doing fine since he had built up some tolerance for the undead, thanks to the horror movies and games from his previous life. Lucille was delighted after receiving her praise, but he realized it was just a business smile as she asked him to turn in the magic stones he had collected for the day. Lucille's total points were 4,216. Jord was shocked, and Cat Leia was also impressed with his first day haul, as no one had earned this much in a while. Afterwards, she asked Lucille if he wanted to buy something. He pointed at the spell tomes and asked about them. However, Cat Leia said that the most expensive tome is 1 million points. Lucille was shocked, and he thought that he wouldn't be able to afford it for a while Cat Leia said that he would have to earn 250 times what he had earned previously. Since he couldn't afford the tomes, Lucille asked about the weapons, and Cat Leia explained that they were made from silver and holy silver, forged especially by the dwarves for fighting the undead. He saw a fancy-looking sphere, and he was shocked that it was only worth 2,500 points. So Cat Leia explained that since most healers couldn't use weapons and their oath prevented anyone from reselling them, nobody bought these weapons. Lucille was really excited. He thought it was because of his monster luck skill again. But he thought that the weapons were too cheap, and he asked why there was no demand. So Cat Leia explained that healers couldn't recite their spells while wielding a weapon, so he found out that he was different from the usual healers in this regard. Lucille wanted to buy the sphere and a sword once he had enough points. However, Cat Leia said that since he was a first-time customer, he could have both for 4,000 points. She also told him not to get himself killed. Lucille was delighted, and he said he would be careful and earn even more the following day, so she thought that he was really odd. Then she remembered to thank Jord for his work. Lucille was satisfied with his purchase, and he was excitedly thinking about earning more points to afford the 1 million point tome. He thought that it was satisfying to see his points accumulate every day, and it reminded him of how he used to collect store loyalty points in his previous life. Because of this, he didn't notice that Reinhardt was waiting for him, so he was shocked when he suddenly saw him. Reinhardt asked him how his first day as an exorcist was. He said that he didn't encounter any problems before he thanked Reinhardt for his concern. Afterwards, Reinhardt explained that his wages would be deposited on his guild account at the start of the month, and he also told him that he could use any equipment that he needed from the storage room. Although he sounded cold, Reinhardt lectured Lucille like a worried mother. He reminded him to have proper meals, good hygiene, and ample sleep so he wouldn't lose focus while dealing with the undead. Lucille was already going crazy from his nagging, but he finally stopped after giving him his cleric robe. Lucille thought that he actually went out of his way to give it to him. But Reinhardt continued his lectures, explaining that their cleric robe is a reminder of their obligations, and not just a symbol for their position or affiliation. Lucille wondered if he really waited for him just to give him his robe. And because of this, he had a better sense of what kind of guy Reinhardt is. On his second day at the Labyrinth, Lucille took out his sword and spear, planning to use both at the same time. Although he was certain that Broad would beat him up if he saw this, he really wanted to give it a try. Similar to his first day, he explored and mapped the inside of the labyrinth while dealing with the zombies. But this time the zombies started dropping weapons, and he also earned 5,372 points, even higher than before, so Cat Leia reminded him not to overdo it. He managed to finish until the 5th floor, so he started on the 6th floor on his 3rd day. Although the zombies started wielding bows and arrows, he still dealt with them easily. However, he almost fell into a trap, so he started acting cautious again. And although he slowed down because of it, he still cleared the floor, and his points earned were even higher than before. Lucille didn't have any problems. Even against a large group of zombies, his purification spell killed them in an instant. And what's troublesome for him is actually collecting all the magic stones. After collecting the stones, he continued exploring. However, he noticed a huge door that looked like an entrance to the boss's room, so he decided to return for now. Lucille asked Jord about the room, and although he didn't understand when he called it a boss room, he knew that it was the room that had big groups of undead that would suddenly attack, and he was shocked that Lucille had already reached it since he only got there before he handed the job to Lucille. Lucille decided to enter the boss's room on his 11th day at the Labyrinth. He made sure that his magic and gears were all good to go, and he even bought a bow and arrow worth 50,000 points just to deal with the boss. Then he wondered if the labyrinth would disappear if he managed to defeat the boss or if it was really a training ground for newbies. However, he was determined to be the fastest to clear it, regardless of the case, and he hopes he receives some special rewards for it. Lucille drank Substance X before entering the room, and he was surprised by the number of zombies inside, but since he was prepared for it, he calmed down and started reciting the purification spell. However, nothing happened even after he finished reciting, so he panicked and ran from the undead. Although he blamed himself for not preparing properly after he got surrounded by the undead, he thought it was still nothing compared to his training under Braun, so he focused and channeled his spell on his sword since he couldn't cast it directly at the undead. After a while, the floor was littered with magic stones from all the undead that Lucille had slain. He thought he managed to survive because of his intense training under Braun, and he planned to send him something nice once he got paid. He was already thinking about using his recovery spell once he left the room. However, he was thrown away because of a White's attack. He realized that it was the real boss, and then he tried healing his injury, but his spell still failed to cast. The White carefully dodged his spear and arrows, so he realized that it was afraid of weapons made of holy silver. Lucille knew that the White would be vulnerable while it was casting a spell, so that would be his chance to defeat it. At the same time, the White started releasing its magic, planning to cast the spell. Lucille didn't just stand still, he fired his arrows repeatedly to interrupt it. He managed to create an opening and split the White's skull in half. However, it started to heal like he had expected. He knew it wouldn't go down easily, so he had already prepared his next attack. He pierced the White's stomach with his sphere before severing its head with his sword, and it was finally enough to finish it off. It was confirmed that the boss battle was over when he could finally cast his healing spell on himself, and he also realized that the video game logic applies to this world. At the same time, the entrance to the next floor had also opened, but he decided to head back to have a meal first. Cat Leia was surprised to see Lucille, as it wasn't the usual time for him to visit her shop. She reminded him not to overdo it before opening the bag of magic stones. She was surprised to see the huge magic stone that the White dropped, so he explained that although he panicked when he couldn't use his magic, he had cleared level 10 and defeated the White. Cat Leia was upset with his recklessness, and she asked if he hadn't gone through the orientation. Lucille reminded her that he was only in his 11th day on the post, and it was really his job as an exorcist to deal with these undead in the labyrinth, so she finally calmed down and apologized. Lucille was surprised when Cat Leia informed him that he had earned 108,914 points after exchanging all the magic stones. Then Cat Leia asked about the items he wanted to show her. He took out the White's robe before saying that there was also its staff. Cat Leia was surprised, but she suddenly had a serious expression while asking Lucille to change into his cleric robes and follow him. He didn't know what was going on, but she told him to hurry, so he couldn't do anything but follow. She brought him to a room that was previously off limits to him, and he was shocked when she was addressed as Your Holiness, Cat Leia, by another healer. And he realized that she wasn't an ordinary shop lady when the Pope agreed to meet with her even without an appointment. The Pope greeted Cat Leia, but she had no idea who Lucille was, so Cat Leia explained that he was a new exorcist who had vanquished a remarkable number of undead in the labyrinth. The Pope seems intrigued, but she knew that there was a far more important reason why she came to meet her. So she explained what had happened with his battle against the White, and then she added that she came to meet her to bring the items Lucille had recovered from it. The Pope asked for Lucille's name before telling him to show her the items. The Pope recognized the items. She was certain that they belonged to Ozenario, who had disappeared 12 years ago, and she thanked him for bringing them back. Then it is revealed that the necklace reduces magic consumption by half, while the Staff of Disruption disperses the user's magic to disable the magic of others. Lucille immediately realized that these were cheat items. Afterwards, the Pope asked to purchase the items from Lucille, and Cat Leia's glare told him that he couldn't refuse. Although Lucille agreed to relinquish the items, He also made a request in exchange. He explained that his magic bag didn't have enough capacity, so he asked for a bag with a larger capacity to solve the inconvenience. The Pope was surprised that it was all he wanted, and she decided to give him a magic sack, which has an alternate dimension inside where time has stopped and has a capacity similar to a room. Lucille asked if he was deserving of it, but the Pope actually wanted him to retrieve more items from the labyrinth in exchange for rewards. Cat Leia was impressed that Lucille could keep a cool head and even request something from the Pope. Lucille worriedly asked if he was too bold, but Cat Leia said that it was fine since the Pope even liked him enough to give him a magic sack. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.